Hi, my name is Kennedy Anderson, and these are my answers for the Chapter 6 Challenge Yourself question. I'll go over my examples first for each quadrant. So quadrant 1 was name something that's ethical and legal. I talked about operating a vehicle. It becomes legal because you should acquire proper certification like a driver's license, and then also you shouldn't be breaking any traffic violations like speeding, driving under the influence, wearing a seatbelt. And then it becomes ethical because you need to treat people on the road with respect, not cutting people off or distracting people while driving. The second quadrant is ethical and illegal. I had thought of Harriet Tubman. So she did break the law of the Fugitive Slave Act, which made it illegal to help runaway slaves. But it was ethical in her case because she was saving people's lives and protecting them. And we know now that obviously slavery was extremely unethical. So she was helping people. The third quadrant was unethical and legal. So I had thought of the death penalty, which is obviously opinion based, but I think it's unethical because people are wrongfully committed crimes all the time. And there have been a lot of cases where people receive the death penalty and then they found out decades later that they didn't even commit the crime. So, and I think also along with this, there's a lot of other forms of punishment that are worse than the death penalty. So spending life in prison to me is a lot worse than just getting out of it by receiving the death penalty. The fourth quadrant was unethical and illegal. So I had heard of this story a couple of months ago, and then I looked it up to confirm. But a nurse in Germany was giving her patients saline instead of the COVID-19 vaccination, and she did this to a suspected 8,000 people. So obviously that's extremely illegal because she had signed code of healthcare, and she knew that she wasn't supposed to inject anything other than what the patient thought they were receiving. And then that's unethical because the patients went in there thinking that they were getting protection from the virus, and they walked out of the hospital still not protected, and they thought that they were. So the third question is based on what you learned in this chapter, do you see new aspects to the examples you found in and categorized in question 1? An aspect I noticed was that especially quadrant 3 can be subjective. Again, I find the death penalty unethical, but there's many people that would categorize the death penalty in quadrant 1, which would be ethical and legal. Again, it's just kind of opinion based, and I think that's the only quadrant that's like that. The other ones are kind of more, most people agree that illegal things are unethical. So, and then question 4 says, as a healthcare manager, how can you use what you learned about the quadrants? I said that I learned that training is important. You must be certified to perform treatment, and this is really important legally and ethically. Another one would be, if you don't know if something is ethical or not, then get an opinion of another person in your profession before you perform the task. Again, if you don't know, you should ask other people before you do what you think, just in the case that it is unethical or illegal. And then a third one I said was to keep clear records so that if you are in some type of lawsuit, you have viable proof, and that you're not just having to try to remember things. Okay, and then the fifth question was for which quadrants did you have the most trouble finding an example? I have to go back to what I think is opinion based, and so I said quadrant 3. I think it's the most subjective. Usually people do agree when things are illegal, but many people don't agree on ethics. Yeah, so I think, again, like people could put death or categorize the death penalty in quadrant 1, which would be legal and ethical. So it just kind of depends on who you're asking and how they would categorize it. Thank you.